let's not shoot each other, all right?
Spider-Man's a character that's always been close to my heart. Yeah, it might be basic to say it, but this little Rugrat's my favorite superhero. Aside from his superpowers, he's really easy to relate to. He's a high schooler in some versions, and an adult in his 20s in another version. As someone who's been both of those, I can relate greatly. Other aspects make him easy to relate to. He gets bullied. He has crushes and gets all awkward like a goon. He fights a giant man in a rhino outfit. He has a shitty apartment. Oh. Yeah, no wait, one of those didn't sound right. Besides all that, the Spider-Man I've been referring to is Peter Parker. While Peter is fantastic, that's not what we're talking about today. I just want to make a quirky intro. This video is actually about Spider-Man Miles Morales, which stars a different Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Now, while Miles and Peter are two different people with different personalities, there is one thing they share, and that's the moniker of Spider-Man, and what it means to be Spider-Man. This game has a very obvious intention to make Miles stand out and be separate from Peter. He's his own character and should be portrayed as such. However, while it's important to show that Miles is Miles, it's also important to show that he embodies the aspects of Spider-Man. Now, it's not evident immediately because the story is supposed to be a story about growing into the position, so he's still getting there. But I think the game did a great job at showing the audience what Spider-Man's supposed to be. So what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man? What are aspects of his character? Well, for starters, don't make his entire story revenge! That's literally why he becomes Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man. What? Why? That's stupid! Spider-Man as a hero is an easy concept to portray. You just gotta show him being a good guy, saving people, fighting bad guys, that stuff's so easy. But there's more to him. Spider-Man the hero obviously needs to show off his powers, which shouldn't be that hard to pull off. And this game shows it well. We got our super strength, our spider agility, we got webs, we got sticking to walls, spider sense, and special to Miles, you get a couple of extra things like bioelectricity and invisibility. But those extra bits are what makes Miles stand out from Spider-Man. We're talking about what it means to be Spider-Man. So why did I bring it up? Simple. Everything I just said was an excuse to add some fun clips. The powers alone are honestly the least important thing to Spider-Man, at least how I see it. Are you bitches ready? Cause I'm about to get cliche. With great power comes great responsibility. Kanye West. These words are not just the core idea behind Peter, but what Spider-Man is as a hero. But why should we stop at one spider cliche? Let's run down the entire events of Miles Morales. Also, obvious spoiler warning, so like, run. Miles is new to being a superhero. He's just a kid who's trying his best. But let's slap him in the face with all the spider cliches that I fucking adore. First off, this happens in Spider-Man PS4, but Miles' dad fucking explodes. Poof. So boom. Already having the dead father figure trope, which serves as a way for Spider-Man to experience loss, and then turn that loss into a source of inspiration to guide them forward in service of others. Speaking of working in service of others, that's a massive quality of Spider-Man. Despite everything going on in Miles' life prior to even becoming Spider-Man, he opts to volunteer at the Feast Center, helping the homeless of NYC. This translates further when he becomes Spider-Man. He constantly focuses on the friendly neighborhood aspect by helping civilians all around the area, using a phone app that his friend Genki made. Also, side note, I just love Genki. Look at this guy. Terrific. I love him. He's fantastic. Great. So already these qualities are piecing together to form Spider-Man. You have the powers, you have the personality, and you have the responsibility to take those together and use them to help the little guy. But I feel the most important qualities get highlighted really beautifully in this game. Roxxon. Building an energy reactor for the future. Well, that energy reactor's a lie, and it just infects all those around it with sickness, another example of corporate greed. But then there's the Underground, a group of individuals led by the Tinkerer, who is Miles' friend Finn. They oppose Roxxon, they fight them, so they're the good guys, right? Well, it's a Spider-Man game, so of course not. Finn's so stubborn, her actions can end up blowing up Harlem just for her revenge plan. So in comes Miles, the newest Spider-Man. The odds are against him. A powerful company views him as a criminal, his friend views him as an annoying variable that just gets in the way of stopping Roxxon. He's already hurt when he learns what his friend is, but then he finds out his uncle was the Prowler, a criminal his dad investigated prior to his death, and his uncle constantly betrays his trust and manipulates him. Roxxon's constantly trying to take him down. The Underground's led by his former friend who will actively try to kill him if he gets in the way, and his uncle will constantly manipulate him and try to keep him out of the conflict. Miles is missing his mentor Peter, the other Spider-Man, who is currently in a different country. So, alone now, he faces every variable that constantly screams at him to stay out of the conflict. So what does he do? He pushes forward. Spider-Man is constantly against every odd imaginable. He's backed into the wall, pushed to the brink, beaten to the point of death, but the hero Spider-Man constantly stands back up and keeps fighting because he has the ability to save people, to help those in need, and it just wouldn't be Spider-Man if he passed up the chance to help anybody. So embodying this perseverance that clings to the idea of Spider-Man, Miles charges forward. He fights off his uncle, shouting that he can't just sit back. He battles through Roxxon, knowing that he won't give in to the authority of a large corporation, and he confronts Finn, believing that no matter what, he will protect his city. When asked why he continues to stand after constantly being knocked down, after constantly being beaten, after constantly standing against all odds, he simply says,
Because I'm Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is the one who will fight every aspect, challenge every impossibility, and never back down when faced with uncertainty, all in order to protect the people that he's sworn to keep safe. This effort doesn't go unrewarded, however, because when you sacrifice everything to protect those around you, they'll return the favor in kind. Spider-Man Miles Morales is one of my favorite parts of the superhero, that the city of New York is part of Spider-Man. Now, they're not always on his side, but when it counts the most, they'll be behind him. Unveiled and vulnerable to a crowd, Miles is protected when the New Yorkers band together and stop the media from getting any closer and getting a look at his face. And when pressed on his identity, the New Yorkers simply say,
That guy? He's our Spider-Man.
to be Spider-Man means to use the powers you've been given as a means to protect others. It means giving back to your community as you work in benefit for the people of your city. And it means that every time you're knocked down, you think there's no continuing. You stand back up because the people need you. Embodying these qualities, it becomes clear that Miles Morales is not just a wonderful depiction of the character, but also a prime example of what it means to be Spider-Man. Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my random ramblings. I honestly love making these. Anyway, I played this game for the first time over my Twitch channel. The full playthrough is available in the description. It's always archived, so you can always check it out. Feel free to drop a follow, too, if you want to, see any of my other playthroughs as well. We stream basically daily. Also, please consider joining the Discord. We have wonderful people in there, and I'd love to get a chance to talk to you all. Honestly, it is one of my favorite things to do when it comes to content creation. Anyway, I'm out of time now, so I gotta bounce. Let's see. With great power comes great responsibility, and piss your pants.